Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Roots Matter, the show where we talk about news, politics, and the intersectionality of religion from a skeptical humanist point of view that happens to be hosted by a Black woman. And I am so thrilled today that I have very special guests that are coming on with me shortly. Now, before we go ahead and get started, I just have like a little rant that I want to share with you. Cynthia's Corner, Unprotected, the historic disrespect of Black women. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cynthia's Corner. Malcolm X didn't mince words when he said, "The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman." That wasn't rhetoric. It was an indictment, and history has backed him up ever since. From slavery forward, Black women was denied protections afforded to anyone else. As Sojourner Truth asked in 1851, "Ain't I a woman?" Exposing how Black women were excluded from both racial dignity and womanhood. Expected to labor like men, endure violence like property, and survive without empathy. Black women were positioned at the bottom of every hierarchy. That contradiction didn't disappear, it evolved. After emancipation, Black women were pushed into domestic labor and excluded from New Deal protections. Mary Church Terrell warned that Black women face race prejudice and sex prejudice at the same time. That double bind remains painfully intact. Even inside liberation movements, Black women were marginalized. Ella Baker rejected male-dominated leadership models because she saw Black women doing the work while men received the credit. Fannie Lou Hamer, beaten for demanding the right to vote, told the nation, "Nobody's free until everybody's free." Yet her suffering was tolerated long before it was honored. Now fast forward to today, and the pattern is unmistakable. Look at Vice President Kamala Harris, former prosecutor, senator, vice president of the United States, and still she is mocked, dismissed, and attacked with racialized misogyny. Her laugh is scrutinized. Her competence was questioned without evidence. Her authority was treated as illegitimate. Scholar Moya Bailey gave this phenomenon a name: misogynoir, the specific hatred reserved for Black women who dare to lead. Then there's Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a lawyer and a legislator who comes prepared and speaks with precision. When she challenges hypocrisy, she's labeled angry or unprofessional, while white colleagues yell, lie, and posture with impunity. Black women are punished not for being wrong, but for refusing to shrink. And we cannot talk about disrespect without naming Donald Trump's treatment of Black women journalists, because it has been deliberate, public, and strategic. Trump repeatedly attacked April Ryan, a veteran White House correspondent, telling her to sit down and accusing her of not knowing her job when she asked legitimate questions. He signaled her out in rooms full of reporters, undermining her credibility simply for doing her job. He publicly insulted Yamiche Asindor, calling her questions racist and nasty after she asked about white supremacy and domestic terrorism, even though those were pressing national issues. Rather than answer, he attempted to discredit her integrity. He dismissed Abby Phillips, now of CNN, implying she asked questions in a nasty tone and cutting her off. a familiar tactic used to frame Black women journalists as hostile rather than professional. And when Kristen Welker moderated a presidential debate, Trump repeatedly interrupted her, ignored her authority, and later attacked her credibility, signaling that even neutrality and professionalism do not protect Black women from his contempt. These weren't isolated moments. They were performances meant to signal his base that Black women in positions of intellectual authority should be challenged, humiliated, and put in their place. And the consequences are real. In the workplace, Black women are the most educated demographic in America, yet remain underpaid, underpromoted, and over-scrutinized. As Dr. Frances Beale wrote in Double Jeopardy, to be Black and female, Black women are exploited by both racism and patriarchy in systems that profit from their labor while denying them security. In healthcare, Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die in childbirth. The deaths of Susan Moore and Shailene Irving remind us that education, income, and expertise do not shield Black women from medical neglect. And even in our homes, Black women remain unprotected, facing high rates of domestic violence, economic vulnerability, and social isolation, often without meaningful institutional support. As Bell Hooks warned, patriarchy and racism converge to leave Black women especially exposed to harm. So when Black women express exhaustion, anger, or refusal to explain themselves anymore, it is not an attitude, it's an accumulated history. America relies on Black women's resilience while resenting our autonomy. It utilizes our strength that we had to cultivate to sustain and to maintain the race instead of correcting the conditions that demand it in the first place. And it calls itself just while repeatedly leaving Black women unprotected. This is not a request for respect. It is a demand for accountability. Because a nation that continues to disrespect, neglect, and endanger Black women is not merely unjust. It is morally bankrupt. Black women's fight for equity and inclusion is continuous. And until America confronts the truth, Malcolm X's words will remain less like a quote and more like a mirror it refuses to face. Oh, thank you so much for watching that, guys. And now it is time to introduce my illustrious guests that have joined us today. These are the ladies of the Black Nonbelievers affiliate leader organizations. I like to welcome, but before I do that, I have stuff written down. Yes, I do. And therefore, I'm going to read the thing that I have written down for these ladies before they start talking. So here I go. Okay, very good. We're reading things now. So tonight we're centering Black atheist women who aren't just in the movement, they're leading it. Activism looks very different when you're doing the work while navigating racism, sexism, and religious dominance all at once. The leadership is real, the labor is often invisible, and balance is rarely talked about. I'm joined by Tina Marshall of Black Nonbelievers Charlotte and Kellie King of Black Nonbelievers Detroit, 2 women who show up for their communities with intention, honesty, and backbone. So let's get into it. But before we do that, I give a round of applause. Welcome, ladies. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank
How's
you for
everybody?
having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you this evening. How's everybody doing today?
I'm great.
I'm good. A little chilly, but good. Chilly
Okay.
for the South.
Chilly
Yeah.
for the South. Okay, so I'm already like jealous because I'm getting over influenza and I'm in this cold ass weather that we call Chicago. So what is chilly for the South, Tina? You
Okay.
tell.
I'm going to tell you right now because we started out in the 30s this morning, and
Okay.
right now it's 51.
You know what?
I don't like you right now.
I had a few other words that I was about to show right now, but because I got respect for you, my
It's
sister,
like
I'm not gonna do
15
that.
here.
Hey, it's going down. It's going down to 33 tonight. So
Ooh.
I know that's a hot summer day for y'all.
It really
It's
is, because
15
it's like,
degrees.
see, that's that foolishness, Kelly. We're not quite at 15. We're like at 32, but it's gonna go down to something awful tonight. So it's about the weather. It's kind of crazy. But, I don't know. Guys, I just want to go ahead and first, again, welcome you to the show. And also, I want to see if it was if it would be okay for we to just talk about our experiences about being leader affiliates with Black Nonbelievers. Tina, you, out of all of us, you've been the longest. You're the OG, right? Been there almost center day one with Mandisa and Sharon back in the day. And I just also like to mention Miss Mandisa Thomas, the founder and president, who happens to be in the chat right now. Thank you for joining us, Mandisa. And this is the 15th year anniversary of Black Nonbelievers. Can you believe it? It's been so long.
Believe that.
I can believe it.
Black
You can believe it.
It's their birthday.
Yeah.
So twins.
Yeah, I just think about I know that like all of us have like an origin story, which I'm really one to get into, what first brought you first as being an atheist, and then secondly, being an activist, because in this particular space, we're both. We are, and even though that activism, I mean, there's so many different ways that activism shows up as far as when you are within it. But I can't really say that when you are in this particular body, this particular institution, and you are, leading and doing events and creating community and also creating safe spaces, that's not activism work too. It definitely show enough is. So Tina, since you've been with us the longest, I was wondering if you could please get into your origin story. What brought you first out as an atheist and then stepped into activism?
Well, I've always questioned. I was raised AME, and I've always questioned, even as a child. And I would ask my dad stuff like, how did all those animals get on that boat? And he would tell me, with Noah, and he'd always tell me, just don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. But I'm just that type of person. If people know me, that I'm going to ask. And it just went on and on throughout the years until probably just before I had my child. I really kind of stepped away from church. And once I had her, it was like, there's a decision you have to make, right? That how am I going to raise my child? Are you going to raise her to believe this invisible spirit, or whatever you want to call it, ghosts, whatever? So I didn't. I think we went to church like her first year. She went to Sunday school. She really liked it, but and I think it was when she was 4 years old, she sat up there and told me there's no Santa Claus, there's no Tooth Fairy, there's no Jesus, there's no God, there's no. I said, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And it just went on from there. And I really, at that point, I felt free to just tell everybody, I'm a non-believer. I don't believe in God. And at that point, that was in New York. I moved down to Charlotte and started to look for atheist groups. And they were all white. I think I was with Sunday Assembly, and I had gone down to the Sunday Assembly conference they had, international conference, and it was in Atlanta. That's where I met Mandisa, and I went, oh, there's another Black atheist out there. And that's where it started. And I met her like in June of that year. That was 2015. And then I started Black Nonbelievers of Charlotte in August, 2 months later. That's it. And we've been rolling along ever since.
Yes, ma'am. And you sure have been rolling along ever since. I have yet to, I never visit. I've been to South Carolina. I have not been to North Carolina. So once I get my weight up, and for those in the chat, weight means money. I could go ahead and actually start to make my rounds to different places. So thank you for sharing that, Tina. I really do appreciate that. So let's come to Miss Detroit Atheist Queen. Same question for you. What brought you to being an atheist? And then what brought you to activism?
Well, it was quite funny. I was watching YouTube and I fell asleep and I woke up to Penn and Teller bullshit on. And they were talking about the Passover and doing a magic act about that. And I was like, yeah, certain things don't make any sense. Like, why is he killing if the firstborn anything? And then after that, on Raw came on, and it was two ladies that were trying to argue with him about being an atheist. And he said, why are you a Christian? And he talked about slavery to them. And that clicked in my head as well. So further on, I started looking more, watching ACA shows and, talk heathens and stuff like that. And so it's like that. So after that, I'm like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. The theists, their arguments make no sense at all. Why am I believing this anymore? So from there, I started looking for spaces to go to. And from the spaces, but around, where's my phone going off? But when I was looking at the different spaces that they had, it was around COVID, so I really couldn't find anything. But I didn't know that, like Tina said, there was no Black spaces, whatever. But eventually I started watching and I saw Thinking Atheist show, had Mandisa on there. And I was like, there is a Black group. So I clicked on it and I saw everything, but I didn't really respond. The following year, that's when they did the Revival of Reason, which was 2022. No, 21. I'm not good with dates. And end up signing up for it, going to the revival, meeting everybody that I know now in the organization. And then the next year, end up going on the CCon. And then January, which would be our second year, I've been the affiliate leader. So that's how I've got here.
Yeah, I think you meant women of color beyond belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm about to say, like in 24, that's when we did the Revival Reason. That was our first.
Yeah, I know I keep mixing them up. I did that last time. I said Revival the Reason when I met the women of color. Okay.
Can't hear you.
I will say the same thing. I'm about to type it.
Can't hear you.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I pressed the wrong button. Damn it.
Okay. That
So anywho,
happens.
yeah, okay. But anyway, what I was saying was is that I'm gonna try to fix myself real quick. My bad. Okay. It's kind of interesting that both of you all said that when you came out as atheists, you didn't see like any black spaces, like no people that looked like you when you were first like coming onto the community, really. And I want to get from each of you what it what did that how did that make you feel when it was very difficult before you actually were familiarized with Black nonbelievers to be in to come out and not really see anybody that looked like you. Tina, start, and then Kellie, if you could follow up.
It's always I feel the same way whenever I go into all white spaces. Right? I always feel like I'm looking over my shoulder. I feel almost a hostility, like, why are you here? That kind of thing. Maybe that's just Charlotte, but you have to walk on eggshells whenever you're in all white spaces. So with the atheists, it's not any different. It's just not any different. So, that's why I knew that once I saw Mandisa and then saw the Facebook page, I said, well, shoot, there's a whole Facebook page, and there's got to be some more in Charlotte. There's got to be some in North Carolina, if not Charlotte. So no, I feel very uncomfortable in those spaces.
What about you, Kellie?
I'm the only one. There's no other Black atheist but me. So I need to stay quiet. I feel shameful because everybody is against me now. So I have to act accordingly. That's how I first initially felt when it happened. I didn't really have any space or anything, so I felt alone. I got depressed for a while.
It can be depressing. It's interesting because, like, I'm like you, Tina. Like, I as an individual, like, we have like our people of different hues, diverse backgrounds, right? That we're cool with. But when and oftentimes this happens, is that as a Black woman, depending on where you are, like, a lot of times you might end up in spaces where you're the only one, or it's very few of you, it's a handful of you, right? And then on top of that, having a religious affiliation that is none, it really starts to, it can bring some anxiety to you. I remember being in a job years ago. This is when I first started in healthcare. And I was working with this lady, Black lady, who was a Christian. And she was like, saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized, running for your life, child. You couldn't tell this woman nothing. She was about to float away. Okay. That's how she was. She had this huge Bible that she had on her desk. And she kept it open at all times in order for you to be able to see whatever verses she was reading at the time. And she had no problem with telling you about her Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Okay. Now, she overheard me talking to our supervisor at the time, because the supervisor knew that I was an atheist, at least not Christian. I never, did this big overt coming out with, as soon as I like walked into the office, hear ye, here stands the Black woman atheist. Like, no, that never happened, but like in some of our like conversations and things of that nature, she knew I was a non-believer. I just didn't make a big thing out of it. And so she was talking to me about some book that she was reading by Joyce Meyer. And I was like, oh, you mean The Battlefield of Mind? Yeah, I've read that book. Um, and she said, well, what did you think of it? And I was like, well, Joyce make her money. She know how to make her coins. I don't completely dismiss everything that's in there, but the stuff that like is attached to spirituality, to me that's like bunk for real. So the next day I had to work with this Black woman alone. And she decided to, instead of like talk to me about what project that we were working on that day, she decided to talk to me about why I am not a Christian. And I said, I am not a Christian because I am not a Christian. Now, can you please show me how to do these spreadsheets? And then she's like, well, I heard you talking to our boss and I was just very curious to know, what made you not believe anymore. And so I said, oh, since we're doing this now, I'll tell you. And so I went through the whole list of the reasons why I didn't believe. I said, I first started out with the church. I don't like patriarchal hierarchy that's in the church. I don't like the exploitation of women that happens a lot in the church. I don't like, especially when you are, and this is a lot of times in Black churches. I'm pretty sure it's in white churches too, but you do see oftentimes that the pastor is above board and he cannot be scrutinized, chastised, or criticized for anything, even if it's constructive. I don't like this respecter of persons, even though the Bible says that you should not have respecter of persons. And I don't like that because you can't scrutinize the pastor in some kind of way that you have a lot of church folk that's backbiting. So that's one. That's that one, piece of it. Then the other piece of it is the lack of evidence. Like I can call a family member and say, I know this person and I can prove to you that I know this person because I can get them on the phone and they can corroborate that they know me. Can you do that with God? Quick answer, no, because God is unfalsifiable. There is no methodology that we can utilize in order for us to actually prove a God or God exists. A God or gods, plural, exist. And then also, even if God was real, and you look at the history specifically behind us and how that Bible was used in order to justify chattel slavery, to justify imperialism, to justify colonialism, to actually create marginalized groups in order for them to be exploited for capitalistic reasons, because God said so. How, even if you exist, you're a dick. I can't worship you. You have commanded genocide over people over and over again in the Old Testament. And then when Jesus comes around, he says that he did not come to destroy the law, but to come to fulfill it. So that tells me that Jesus is cool with genocide. It sounds like that to me. Jesus is cool with slavery because God is. Jesus is cool with othering other groups and picking out people to be chosen. I can't roll with that. So, and after I made her whole head spin, she really got some deepness in her voice, y'all. And she basically was almost about to tear me a hole. And then after that, she invited me to talk to her pastor about my non-belief. And I was like, yeah, no, thank you. Listen, you weren't, if you're supposed to be the sheep that's supposed to get the other sheep that's lost, what your pastor gonna do? I'll just sit here and just burn in hell forever. We already established that we don't like cold weather already. So there you go.
Well, I'll say this: you aren't the only one who's had that type of coworker. I've had one recently within this past year.
Oh dear, do tell.
Yeah. So we were sitting there. I work on the assembly line, and so we're doing our job. I work left side, she works right side. And we're having a conversation. Every time I look up, she keeps talking about God is good, stuff like that. And I'm ignoring her. But she kept saying stuff like that. And I said, I want to be honest. I do not believe I'm an atheist. She looks at me and gives me the look like she just saw Satan himself. Walks away and goes ahead of me. So I'm laughing to myself because I know why she's doing this for. Then she comes back and she says, why don't you, so you don't believe? I said, no, I don't. Can you tell me why? Like in a forced smile. So I tell her, I'm like, and give her the reasons and stuff like that, why I don't believe as well. And we start talking about Noah's Ark and stuff. And I said, and then I brought the clincher, like, okay, let's say that humans were that evil that they needed to be destroyed. What did all the animals do? And she said, well, they didn't matter. They were just animals. Oh. So after that, there's nothing else I want to say to you. Yes, that's what she said, yes. So I just walked away and I did my car. Then the next couple weeks later, we were talking about separation of church and state. And she was like, that's wrong. They're trying to stop us from us worshiping. No, we're not. We just don't want to worship the way you. If you want to worship, that's your business. I don't care about that. Why are you forcing others to worship the way you want to worship? That's not right. And you can't tell me that it's right. There are other religions besides Christianity in this country. And I'm voicing for everybody, not just atheists as well. Mm-hmm. Oh, she was like, oh, I can't believe you. And then another coworker looked at her and said, you sound stupid as hell. You need to listen to Kellie. She makes a lot of sense. And then she said, I don't want to tell anybody, but I'm going to ask my Spill the tea. Yeah. Spill the tea. Yeah, but everybody else in my job, they're not, they don't really like that I'm atheist, but they respect it. And they'll make a mistake. Oh, we're sorry, or is this okay that we do this? I say, it's fine. I'm not really a militant atheist when it comes to that, But if you know that I'm an atheist, respect me. That's all I'm asking.
All right, keep your prayers out of my face.
Exactly. Because I had a cousin that just recently died over the summer, and I went to his funeral, so I know it's a religious ceremony. I'm not going to pray, but I'm going to be quiet. I'm not going to, interrupt their ceremony. It's not my position. But if it's my ceremony, I don't want to religious crap in mine.
I just like to say that my channel is not monetized yet, ladies. You do not have to curve your language. Remember who you're talking to. I am.
Okay.
Just say like. No.
You didn't notice. I was about to say something else. And I just say,
no, you don't. Yeah, you don't have to mince words here. It's really okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to say. That. Listen, hey, Angere, listen. I am usually the first person on streams to drop the F-bomb before it's all said and done. So it's all good.
Oh, okay.
You guys are fine. But okay. Tina, what about you? Have you ever had those experiences where, you were challenged because somebody knew that you were atheist and they just didn't think that should have been something that you should have been?
Not really. I mean, by the time I came out, I was already, I wasn't working. Well, no, I was still working a little bit, but then I hadn't worked in corporate America in a long time. So no. And I think because I was in a predominantly white, work industry, I don't think it would have mattered. Now coming down here where I've gotten involved in, electoral work and activism, where I'm around our people, sometimes people will say, let us pray, and I don't. I don't bow my head. I'm respectful, but I don't bow my head. If somebody asks me, I'm going to tell them. But and then in some instances, I will say, you know, I'll say I'm non-religious, depending on where I am and who I'm with, because I always think about safety too. Because some people, you know, they get up in their feelings about Jesus, and if you don't believe, they take it personally. So, you know, I'll feel it out before I'll say atheist. You know, I'll say a secular humanist, non-religious. I don't believe in the supernatural. I'll say those kind of things. Often before I'll say atheist, to kind of like feel everybody out. Now, I do have a story about one of my members that was doing electoral work, and this must have been about, oh gosh, it must have been 5 or 6 years ago. And this member was quite petite, very, very beautiful young woman. And she said that she was doing some electoral work in a red county, and she was in a church basement, and they were trying to set up or whatever, she and this other woman, and she says they weren't even arguing, but they were just trying to plan out, well, what's going to go where, and should we put this over here, that kind of thing. And she says all of a sudden the woman hauled off and slapped her. She said, slapped the shit out of her.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, I was ready to fight. She's, you know, and like I said, she was petite. And she says, if the woman probably outweighed me by, 50, 100 pounds, and she was younger, she was younger. She said, if it wasn't for that, I would have, I was ready to fight. And I said, well, I'm glad you didn't. But yeah. And she said, why did you do that? Why did you slap me? And the woman says, I don't know. It just came over me because you're an atheist. And it just came.
Oh my God.
What the hell? And apparently there was a preacher there. The preacher was there and he witnessed it. And he came to like intervene, but it wasn't like he chastised the woman for hitting her, or the reason behind. Well, he chastised her for hitting her, but not chastised her as to why she hit her. It was almost like, I see why you did it, but you shouldn't have done it.
Oh my God, that's insane. So
it's insane. It's insane.
So this would have prompted me to ask a bunch of different questions about where is your Christ-like behavior? Because even you remember that the question that Peter asked Jesus. So how many times should we forgive? 7 times. And Jesus says, I think that he gives like a verily I say unto you, you're supposed to forgive 70 times 70 or something to that effect. Like a big number of times that you're supposed to forgive, when people wrong you. And then there's also that whole thing about, somebody, hits you, strikes your cheek, you're supposed to turn the other cheek. Now, of course, I ain't turning shit. I'm like that Digital Underground song, but if you slap me, then I'll slap you back. If you hit me, then I'll hit you back. Smack me and I'll smack you back. That's the type of energy I'm coming for.
Oh, yeah.
But I get why, but you also have to understand about protecting yourself.
Sure.
And so I kind of want to get into talking more about activism in itself and also what that means to you guys as far as like being secular, because, remember our people were, I would say, the forefront of what it means to actually show what activism looks like in the United States. We've been doing it for a long time, even before the civil rights movement. You know, Black people have always organized since emancipation, actually, to fight for civil rights, for fight for equity and inclusion, to fight for citizenship. And we know, fast forward, like, you know, from emancipation to the 50s, and we have the civil rights movement jump off. And most people say that the inception of the civil rights movement was the murder of Emmett Till. Mm. And but like we hear a lot that, well, we need to give some type of honor to those organizers who were Christian, because that's where the organizing took place in the civil rights movement. And also a lot of the leaders that happened to be in the public eye were Christian, right? So this is often given as a reason why we should be that way, because of this established idea that if you're going to do activism here, if you're going to do activism as a Black person, you got to do it as a believer. But we are of that ilk. Nuh-uh. And and the reason being is because we know that you can fight for things, and you can advocate, and you can organize, and you can do all these different things without having some type of central belief system in order to do it. Unless your belief system is, hey, the things that we're organizing for or against is because we think that this policy is wrong. And it actually impedes the civil rights of people who happen to get, you know, to be able to absorb it. Like when we're talking about bodily autonomy and abortion rights, as an example, right? So I really like to get from you guys, when you think of activism, especially in this space and being secular, what does that look like to you? And what is this, and where do you get your center in order for you to be an active person while you're secular? I'm going to start with you, Kellie, and then Tina, I would like for you to follow up.
Okay. Well, one thing that when you talked about the civil rights and how they have to be the Christian, that's because that was the only space that they were able to organize things without the oppressors, colonizers bothering them. They could protest honestly, fairly. So that's why those spaces were important at that time. But now that's not the issue. So we should be able to organize and have our own space wherever we want, productively. But for me, I believe that when I go and I look and I don't see that many Black women, it's important. So what can I do about it besides step in and do that part? That's how I look at it in my perspective. And it's not easy because we're still a dime a dozen. And recently, I don't want to talk about it, but you just had to have, it was a big fallout with you talking about organization having a conference and only having one Black person on there.
Yeah.
Me. And that's not me. It was a big fallout. But I mean, you made valid points.
I mean,
one Black person, and the Black person was happy being a token. I think that's the issue. I want as many other Black people to step up and help out as they can. I'm not selfish with this. We all work together. I mean, this is something that's important because many people that I know, I remember right before my aunt died, she came to me and she asked me questions about me being an atheist. She was like, well, I do question a lot of things. I said, those questions are what made me become an atheist. And she was like, man, that's deep. She said, I never really thought about things the way that you think about it. I said, well, you need to. And I know sometimes I'll come up in a chat, and a few people have actually watched my videos or have actually come to some local meetings and things like that. Like, you're really an inspiration to me. And I'm like, that's important. I'm like, man, I don't think that I am. But when I do get that response, I'm like, I am making a difference. A little bit that I am. And that's what makes it worthwhile to keep doing it. So
Kellie, when you show up the way that you show up, it makes a huge difference. And don't you ever forget it.
Yeah. Because at first I was afraid to come out. Like, I was part of my local community and I would speak in front of them. But 2 years ago, I would be too afraid to be on this camera. I would be so nervous. But now I'm comfortable with it. I can speak in front of you, but I'm amongst family as well, though. You guys were really important, and I'm thankful for your support, you ladies on the screen with me. It means a lot to me to be here with you and to call you my sisters.
Sisters from a different mister. Put it that way.
Yes. But still as important on the list.
Exactly. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to clear my throat, and I do apologize. Oh, God. This damn flu. Anywho, thank you for that, Kellie. Tina, I know that you show up in a lot of different areas as far as like activism is concerned. So I want you to speak more about that and like what's the thing that's really like driving you, because like you do a lot as far as like, you know, your abolition project that you do, being a protector of people who are coming into clinics when they're, you know, seeking to exercise their bodily autonomy. And also, you know, doing leadership work in Charlotte just by being an affiliate leader. So please speak on that if you would.
It's time for me to retire. I'm gonna tell y'all, because this work is for younger people. It really is. What drives me is that I find, and you know, this people might take this the wrong way, but I find that with the younger people, they're just apathetic. They just have this, oh well, you know, this is what's going to happen. And I always say it's going to happen if you let it happen. Mm-hmm. Why are you going to let these folks run over you like this?
Right.
You know, oh, why should I vote? Because, you know, it's all the same anyway. You know, I want to ask some of those kids now today. Yeah, you think it's the same now?
I know, right?
You think it's all the same now? Because
I just want to to your point. I have to say this because like you would hear from young people and others who happen to be in that apathetic space that both sides are the same, and they're not.
They're not. They're not. They are not. Yes. I can be mad. I can be mad at my side. I can be mad at my side. Now, my side is not perfect, but you know, they always throw in my face, you know, oh, you know, you're just voting for the lesser evil, and I'm like, well, what's wrong with that? You know. What is wrong? What is wrong? You know, but then, you know, Angela Davis said, Dr. Davis said, you know, it's not about voting for the lesser evil. It is voting, it is voting against the collective voting collectively against the one evil, right? That we need to come together to fight, no matter what it is, whether it's the vote, whether it's doing abolition work, trying to educate people about what's going on in these prisons, what's going on out in front of abortion clinics, what's going on in immigration. Immigration now, everybody's been seeing. Everybody sees now what's going on with immigration. With abortion, though, is with our folks, with our people, it's still very difficult to make people understand that 75% of the pregnant people that are showing up at these clinics are African American women and girls. And I'm not exaggerating when I say 75%. And that seems to be all over the country. Our folks just don't want to talk about it, or else they got something smart to say about, Jesus said or God said. And I told people since I've been out in front of that clinic, my clapback game has improved by 1,000%. So I've told folks, okay, you know what? Okay, you don't want them to have abortion. I said, well, tell you what, I got anywhere from 50 to over 100 women and girls that can come and give me your address and phone number, because I'm gonna send them over to your house so you can feed them, clothe them, put a roof over their head, pay their car note, pay for their hospital bill when they have this child. Oh, and then also take care of the children that they already have. It's and it's that kind of thing. That drives me, especially with abortion and bodily autonomy, and the fact that I was able to have an abortion 40 some years ago, 45, I don't even know when it was. And I was able to just go to the doctor and get an abortion. It's not, but now these folks, they show up at least at our clinic, and you've got all of these Christian nationalists out in front of the clinic, screaming out to them, telling them they're going to go to hell, telling them they're going to commit suicide, telling them they're going to have mental health issues and you're going to be depressed the rest of your life, And I always have to counter it. And I said, well, no, that's not true. Because here I am. I know a whole lot of other women you could talk to that have had abortions and they're living wonderful lives. They're very fulfilled. The lies that drives me. But I still feel like there should be some younger folks out there doing that work, not me. And younger Black folks. We need people with dark faces, because of the patients that are showing up are us. And but yeah, I have a passion, and maybe I'm over passionate about all of it, whether it's immigration or abolition or abortion. It's just all of it, and even separation of church and state.
Yes,
and that's wait a minute. Let me decolonize it. Religion and state, because they're all guilty, all of them. So
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, to your point about even being passionate about separation of religion and government. That's what we were taught to say when we were in Washington D.C. with the Secular Coalition of America. I don't think that a lot of people really understand how important that is, because religion and government has always been intertwined in other places. I think specifically in Europe. And every time that it was always terrible. Like,
Yeah.
always terrible. I mean, like, you got the government that can create laws to govern you, to how you are supposed to live your life based on their ideology, not necessarily yours. I mean, it was because of the blurring of the religion and government you had the Spanish and Italian Inquisitions. It was because of the blurring of the lines that you had a papal bull that basically blessed the transatlantic slave trade.
Mm.
And Manifest Destiny, that basically was the genocide of Native peoples here in the United States,
Yeah.
and also in other parts of the Americas. Like, you so many different reasons. And then also too, I don't necessarily think that Christian nationalists, well, maybe some of them do, but some of them don't. I think the ones who are really not very learned on the topic don't also understand that the separation of religion and government protects them too. Because here's the thing, if you a Baptist, but the nation decide to be Methodist, and you ain't Methodizing, the nation can come to you and say that's a problem. And if you don't convert to Methodation like us, then it's your ass. And that's basically what happened a lot. Even when you think of, you know, Jewish people that were back in the Renaissance, even before the Renaissance times, like in medieval times, where they were tortured into, you know, basically saying that you must confess Jesus or we're going to kill you. We're going to kill your family. We're going to take your wealth. We're going to do all these different things. I mean, like, this is documented. So it makes sense to say, like, hey, because we are a pluralistic society. I was going to get that word out before it was all said and done. That why don't we govern according to a secular code where we can live pluralistically without having the church or a mosque or a temple or any other type of religious uh, tenets to govern us. I mean, we even see where in some countries that are Muslim rule, where they're ruled by Sharia law, and how basically women are not even second class, but third, fourth class citizens and are treated as such. You know, I think of Afghanistan specifically, where the Taliban came back in, and then we're saying that, oh, girls can't go to school anymore. Girls can't get professional jobs anymore. Girls can't leave their homes anymore. I mean, like, you know, basically you have to live in a box for the rest of your life. And the only thing that you can do is live to please your husband. First, you got to please your daddy, and then you got to please your husband. That's all you can do. And what a miserable existence, especially when you even look at like all the different contributions that women have made to society to make society better. And it's like when we're putting ourselves in that fray, we are stifling ourselves as a people, as human beings, because we're not allowing everyone to participate in nation building because Jesus said, or because Muhammad said, or Allah said, or Yahweh said, or Brahma said. You know, who gives a fuck about what any of these gods say? They're not real, because we can't prove that they exist. And I'm sorry to get off my box. And but it also like informs how we are governing other people's bodies, especially like when you are talking to these girls that are coming in that's being shouted at by Christian nationalists, white supremacist Christians that are telling these people that they're going to hell. And if they actually read their Bible, there is nowhere in the Bible and all 66 books in that Bible where it says a damn thing about abortion. In actuality, you can pull scriptures, especially in the Old Testament, that seems like it corroborates it, not necessarily against it. So yeah,
Yeah, they always come back with, but thou shalt not kill.
Yeah.
I said, but kill what?
Kill what?
Yeah, and now instead of saying that thou shalt not kill, they say thou shalt not murder. I said, is that in the Bible?
No.
I thought it was thou shalt not kill. I said,
well, it depends. It depends on what interpretation that you're reading at that particular time. And
yes,
and I mean, like, but according to the Torah, that life is at first breath,
yes,
not as an embryo.
Yes,
and damn sure not as a fetus.
Yeah,
and you are an embryo, you are a fetus, you are a parasite.
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
Yeah, and it's funny because we had a new defender who's Jewish, and she was going back and forth. She was going back and forth with them, and she said, she quoted some line. I think it was out of Exodus or something, mm-hmm. And the anti said, "Well, where's that? That's in the Bible." She says, "Yeah, the Torah." And then the anti said, "Oh, well, I only read the King James version of the Bible." And I just
I was told the same thing one time. I was like, "Oh, girl, was that in the King James? Because that's the only part. That's the only Bible I read. That's the only real Bible."
I didn't have anything to say because I'm not a Bible scholar. I let them go back and forth, but I said to her later on, I said, "So is that in the King James Bible?"
Hilarious. Well, I mean, well, but the only thing I would ask any Christian who says that if the King James Bible is the only Bible that they read, I said, I need for you to look at the history of how the King James Bible came together. Start with the Council of Nicaea, and I rest my case.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, guys, we had a very, very good conversation, and we're winding down. And I wanted to now talk to you guys about what it means to you per se to be a Black non-believer now, especially because I pretty much want to bring our conversation to full circle. Like, a lot of us ended up here in these spaces because we didn't see anyone like us outside of the community. And now we found each other. And even though that we're in 3 separate zip codes, I call you all my sisters. And I call our founder my sister. And I love that, we operate like family. And I want to really talk to you guys about how you interpret and see why is it so important for this organization to exist, if for nothing else, to actually have and be with people that look and sound like us, and the importance of representation when it comes to that. Tina, do you want to because I see you pontificating, and I want you. What say you?
Well, I mean, I think it's all about finding and bringing a community together of like-minded people, like-minded, but people that look like you. I don't get invited to the cookout, so to speak, because and I think I do think it's because I am a non-believer. And either these folks are either afraid, they see me as strange, which I am. I mean, I know I'm quirky, but I don't. This way, bringing this group together, it lessens loneliness. You have a base that you can go to and vent, and celebrate in the way that we celebrate. And we have our own cookout, you know. It's community. It's community. I think we need each other more so than ever, because we don't know what's coming down the line. But yeah, we need each other to hold each other close, and to protect each other, and to celebrate each other.
I agree, because life be life, and girl, that's all I got to say about that. And what say you, Kellie?
Okay, well, I look at it like, when you're children and growing up and you don't have, one thing my mom always did, she always gave me a black Barbie. But when she was a child, there were no black dolls. And so when it comes to this space, it's the same thing. I want those young girls to look at me, Tina, and you, Cynthia, and to have representation. So like when you look at the TV shows and things, oh, I want to be like Cynthia McDonald.
Don't be like Cynthia McDonald.
Yes.
Please don't.
I want to be like you.
No, absolutely not.
So that's one reason why it's so important. So when you look and you don't see anybody, and we just said bars on in the cut yesterday, and he was saying the same thing. It was nobody really. See, he was so happy when he found out Black Nonbelievers. So with this, you don't know how important that this space is that you created. You've helped so many people. And that's why I am with it right now. Like, I love being in this space and being around people that I know, and I've met other people in this space. And some of my friends are not necessarily Black in this community, but I found a family now that I can talk to and I can connect with. And I can go from there and build on to try to bring other people on with my message. So, I start every day at a time.
One day at a time, to build community and to hold space for those. I think that's my favorite part, is having people who was so deep in some type of religious ties, but they find themselves out. And we're here to hold space for them, and for them to be somewhere and attached to somebody, because we're social creatures. Humans are. We need each other to survive. I think of that one church song. Even though like I go back and forth between Hezekiah Walker. But, when he wrote that song, I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with the words that are coming out of my mouth. I need you. I love you. I need you to survive. I mean, that is the basic human experience. I mean, like, without a collective to create community that eventually created cities, and then created townships, and also created other, areas in order for us to even build nations like that. That took a collective work of people helping one another in order for that to happen. And I look at Black Nonbelievers that way as well. I mean, I don't know how many times that I was just able, in my lowest points, just to get in contact with Mandisa and some of y'all, or just like us, like coming together and seeing you all, and how much hope and strength that has given me, even when I don't feel at my best. That is so important. And even when I am able to meet with my group in Chicago, and sometimes just sharing a meal together, and us talking and laughing, and being able to not necessarily have to police our language, because we're afraid to possibly offend somebody who may be religious in the room. Or even like having those cross communication spaces, like when we did the debate and we actually got a chance to sit down with Christians and say, hey, this is why we are here. And even though that some of them may not completely understood, at that time, it's kind of like what they say, we planted a seed, right? To say that, these are some of the reasons why, hey, we came out. And you can't deny some reasons why a lot of us come out of religion, because you being part of the church yourself, I'm pretty sure that everything that I mentioned, especially when it comes to like, backbiting and church hurt and things like that, is something that they witnessed. So it's important. And also, as we all know that, especially when we're looking at the online community and even like at a lot of these different like conferences and stuff like that, it's not a lot of us that's out there. And it's damn sure not a lot of us that's actually speaking truth to power about what is not only like being a non-believer, but also coupling that with being Black. Because that invites a whole nother thing. Because we know, especially within our community, that belief and identity almost run hand in hand. I don't know how many times I have been told if I had $1, I would not be in debt. How many times I've heard or been told that if you're not a believer or if you're not a Christian, you ain't Black. I said, when I look in the mirror, I sure do look Black. I mean, yeah. Oh, where they do that at? But yeah, I mean, like this is important. And I mean, even us being able to share these particular spaces with one another, like whether it's on my platform or ITC or whatever, like, when we're actually to be able to converge and talk and say the things that's on in our mind and really be able to express ourselves in an unapologetic manner, all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, with you were influential in me because I saw you speaking at the Women of Color. So that was important.
Mandisa dropped me.
She did. I didn't have any way.
I wasn't mad about it, but she just drafted me.
That was the first atheist event, and I sat up there speaking. You were just so eloquent, so beautiful. I was like, man, I want to be like her when I grow up. And I'm older than you.
Oh, well, I showered that day. I made sure I showered.
Yes, you were phenomenal.
Yeah,
I looked up to you.
I had my hygiene together because I didn't want to get on the stage and then all of a sudden, like, my effervescence wasn't effervescent.
Tina as well, because she was announcing everyone. Her and Sharon was with the announcers. I was just a little small, shallow person in the corner. Watching everything go down.
I mean, well, I have to say to both of you all before we wrap up how much I admire you both. I really do. Tina, with all the work that you have put into the activism community, defending women when they want to practice their bodily autonomy, defending inmates who happen to be in prisons and being exploited, and also, still leading in Charlotte and all the other work that you do. I mean, like that, you are to be commended. And I really want to let you know that I just want to give you your flowers before it's all said and done. Because when I look at you, you're the type of person that I'm seeing as like, I want to be like her because I want to be a better organizer. I want to be able to step up and really just like, help folks, especially when they happen to be in an area where they can't necessarily always help themselves. So I commend you for that. And Kellie, listen.
I second Tina's. You said about Tina.
Yeah, but I have to tell you specifically, girl, how you stepped up, took over Detroit, and made it grow, and then was able to come out of your shell, go to all these particular events.
That's right.
Start a channel. Yes, guys. Kellie has her own channel on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to it. And be able to, I believe it's in the show notes below the link to her channel.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, like, that is to be commended. And I think that that's something that you should be completely proud of yourself about, because like, not everybody can do that. Like, you made a full, from the first time that you came to your conference up until now, it's looking at you is like looking at a lotus flower that has bloomed in the pond into
Now
this
I'm about to
beautiful
cry.
I mean, it's true. It's really
Thank you. I
true.
appreciate it.
And
It's
that's
really sentimental to me. I appreciate that coming from
I,
you. That means a lot.
but it's I mean, but I'm not saying this just to gas you up. I'm saying this because it's
Yeah,
true.
I know. It does. It means a lot, though. I appreciate you saying these things, though.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, and I really just appreciate like all the stuff that you all are doing in your particular affiliates. I think that you guys are doing a marvelous job, and I'm really glad that that we actually had this chance to really be able to, show like I always tease Mandisa that when you Google Black Atheist, literally her picture comes up. You
Yeah,
know,
it does.
it really literally does. And then she's like, "Oh, Cynthia, stop." I'm like, "But it's true." I mean, like, seriously, like, if we want to say Merriam-Webster, what is the definition of Black atheist? It would be Mandisa Thomas. So, but
She didn't deal. That's why.
but it's always good to also see like the people that's also part of the organization, because it's Black nonbelievers. It's not just one individual. It's all of us. It's everyone that's combined. But let's not get it twisted. We know who does the work, and we know that Black nonbelievers is out here doing the work, building community, holding space for people, doing activism, showing up when other people don't show up, and still be able to be that leader in this particular space, especially when it comes to representation for Black folk who happen to be secular. So shout out to all of you, and shout out to Mandisa for that as well. Yes.
But I will say that when I Google your like Charlotte Black Atheist, Tina does show up. In Chicago,
I do.
Yeah, and my Google searches showed up, and Cynthia shows up in Chicago. So maybe not nationally, but locally, you're known.
Oh,
Hey, listen, ladies, listen. They say all politics are local, and guess what?
it's true.
Community building is local too.
Yep.
So I want you all to let everyone know where they can find you if they happen to be in Detroit or happen to be in Charlotte and they want to come to a meeting or have a rib, since Tina's known for her cookouts. Kellie, I'm going to start with you,
Okay.
and then you, Tina.
So you can reach me, Detroit Atheist Queen, on all social medias, and that's been posted on the links and everything. And I'm not sure because I'm supposed to have the Consular Kellie's show Tuesday on my channel, but God is great. He's not feeling well, so I don't know if we're going to postpone that interview. That will be no later on. But Monday I do Java and Jugs on Daily Atheist Morning Show with 7 other lovely ladies, and we talk about different current events. That's 9 a.m. to 11. And I'm working on, because my birthday is coming up, so a lot of things planned for that. It's a fundraising live stream we're doing for my birthday and being anniversary on the 19th, which is King birthday. Details will be coming soon, but the day before is locally. I'm going to brunch and bingo drag show for my birthday and for the event coming up this month.
Well,
So that's what's going on in my neck of the
fun.
woods for right now. There's a few other interviews going on, but that's later on. But yeah.
And then also too, guys, just want to let you know that all of our affiliates are on Meetup, so you can join Meetup and just put in Black Nonbelievers Detroit, and you'll find her there. You can do the same thing with Tina, and you can also do that same thing with my group as well.
Oh, and on my actual birthday, you're going to be on my show too, the 21st.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
so,
yeah. Remember, send me an invite, because if it's not on my calendar, it's not real.
yeah.
Okay. Kind of like Jesus. And Tina, please let the folk know where you be.
Yeah, Black Nonbelievers of Charlotte is on Meetup, and that's really where you can find us and find our events. We do have a Facebook page, but it is private, and I don't let you in unless I've met you or somebody has met you, because we've had some problems. Charlotte is a trip. We're not a big. We think we're a big city, but we're not. So we get all the problems that you would get in a smaller town. So yeah, Black Nonbelievers of Charlotte on Meetup. I do have an IG page, Black Nonbelievers of Charlotte. I believe that's what it is, or BNCLT. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, no show here. I don't no talk shows.
That's because you in them streets, girl. You in them streets, repping hard, and that's what's up. I love it. Like, girl, I ain't gotta be on the show. I'm gonna let the other folk do that. I'm in the streets defending and shit.
Somebody gotta be out in the streets.
I know, that's right. I ain't even mad about that. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Well, and also thank you everyone for tuning in and actually watching the Roots Matter live with Tina Marshall and also Kellie King, our two affiliate leaders in Detroit and also in Charlotte, North Carolina. And also, people, just to give you a little bit more concerning this show, we will be back in 2 weeks live. I will be speaking with Nino Brown, who is one of the leaders of the, hold on, I have to pull it up because I wrote it down.
PSL.
PSL, yes.
Party for Socialism and Liberation.
Yes, thank you, Tina. Yes,
I know them well.
Yes. Well, in Chicago, we do have a PSL conglomerate here, and so he's going to be showing up and talk about activism locally here in Chicago and some of the things that we actually have. Oh, here we go. Next week, the week after next, we will have Nino Brown, who is an organizer with the Chicago branch of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. So make sure you guys tune in at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also, I wrote it down. I know I did. Also, people, I am not monetized yet, but there are ways to support me. If you go to my link tree, which is in the show notes below, I do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/camglamming. So please make sure that if you all like what you see, and also if you want to support the show, you can do that. I'm going to be doing some revisions to it very, very soon, so that you will be able to get more perks if you happen to join my Patreon. Also, I do put out videos every week, and I will be going back to recording now that I am not completely dying and clammy, and and not like feeling that I have to wake up in a cold sweat like I'm James Brown's Celebrity Hot Tub. So there you go. Yes, I just dated myself, but it's really okay. And also too, if you are into Chicagoland area and you want to join the affiliate group that's in Chicago, please go to meetup.com and just put in Black Nonbelievers Chi-Town. And we do have a Facebook page as well. It's Black Nonbelievers Chi-Town. And yes, you do have to answer questions, and you do have to answer them. And if you start trolling, I will kick you out. And there's also a bigger group that you can join that is just the Black Nonbelievers that is also on Facebook. And also you can go to even blacknonbelievers.org, and then you can actually see all things Black Nonbelievers. You can even donate if you go to blacknonbelievers.org/donate, and you can go ahead and give. And you don't necessarily have to wait for a fundraiser to happen. You can do it at the beginning, the end, and we're also looking for members too. So we do have a membership platform as well. So if you want to go ahead and join and become part of the membership, go to the website, hit membership, and then you'll be able to see all the criteria that happens with there. So, ladies, You will have a wonderful rest of your day. Everyone that is in the chat, thank you again for tuning in to The Roots. We appreciate you. Also, I want to give a big shout out to my producer, Infidel64, for pressing all the buttons and killing the demons and kicking the gremlins who were eating all the wires. I appreciate it very much. And as I would like to say to all of you, now that we are in a new year, make sure you stay grounded, stay aware, and remember, at the end of the day, the roots matter. Take care, everybody.